Hello guys, I hope you are doing well wherever you are. Welcome to my show, Keeping It As It Is. My name is Purity Muhandale. Stay tuned. Parents, 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 don't let your child miss out on this opportunity, especially for those who are in grade 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We all know that this corona pandemic has led to our children staying at home for a very long time. The children have been home from March, and we don't know exactly when they'll get back to school. That is why teacher Oscar Changilwa of Evojo Primary School in Vihiga County does not just want to sit there and watch the children forget about their studies. In his lesson today, he is reminding them of what they have been learning in school and also preparing them so that when they go back to class, they will not look like starters. Teacher Oscar Changilwa is a very good English teacher, and today he has an English lesson for our children. Welcome, Teacher Oscar.
This lesson is very important and very vital for any child, any pupil who is in grade 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But most importantly, I'll be talking to those in class 6, 7, and 8. It is very important for colleague teachers, it is very important for parents at home, and it's also very, very important for the very children that we are having at home right now. So I'll be making sure that I make lessons for our children right from how to answer questions in English to various parts of speech and answering questions that come with that. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you have already tuned in your kids, and it's very important that they should know this. I'm teacher Oscar. Most of you know me as 3G Chelsea. Yes, it's very important to say that. Today I have said we are going to talk about answering questions in English. As you know, in English and English as a subject, when it comes in the exam, especially the national exam, even the end term exams that we do, the monthly exams that we do, you'll find that we have several sections. We have the grammar section, which we usually call in most cases language. That's paper A, and B is composition. Today we are going to look at answering questions in English language. English language, or an English paper exam, has 50 questions. The 50 questions are divided into 3 categories. 1, the broken passage, questions 1 to 15. 2, the grammar section, questions 16 to 25. And 3, the comprehension passages, questions 26 to 50. Now, how do you make sure that your children or your child or your pupils pass this English exam? Number 1, and which is very, very important, is to make sure that you let your child look at how to answer questions, most importantly, the comprehension passages. Comprehension passages. Ladies and gentlemen, comprehension carries a lot of marks. This is a section that can carry to a tune of 40 marks, and mark you, there are only 25 questions. And then we have question number 1 to 25, which carries an average of 20, in fact 20. So when you add 20 to 40, that's 60. So which one is very important? It's very important that your child should be able to score all the questions in comprehension passages. Why? Because all the answers are within reach. They are simply derived from the passages themselves. But we shall come to that later on. Passage questions. Broken passage, to be precise. Questions 1 to 15. We are used to instructions like, for questions 1 to 15, choose the most applicable answer to complete the passage. One, you have to make sure that let your child read the broken passage twice without looking at the answers or answering. Twice. How do you do that? The child just reads the passage with the dashes, and the first time, and then the second time it does the same. The third time the child is reading this broken passage, he or she will be able to look at the 4 multiple choices given. That's answers A, B, C, and D. Choose the one that she or he thinks that is the best and write it in the broken passage, the dashes. After the child has done this, and that mark has been done from question 1 to 15, the child will read the passage again with those answers that she or he has chosen. If the answers do not, some of the answers do not make him or her feel that the passage is grammatically correct, the child will be able to correct them. And when you read the passage twice without looking at the answers or choosing any answer, it helps you to know about the pronouns used. What is a pronoun? Ladies and gentlemen, a pronoun is a word that is used instead of a person's name, or simply a pronoun is a word that is used instead of a noun. For example, if you are unable to say Oscar is recording a live video, you will simply say he is recording a live video. Therefore, he has replaced Oscar. Oscar is the noun, he is a pronoun. So the child will be able to know how many people are we talking about. Is it talking about the first person I? Is it about he, she, we, they, it? The child will be able to know. Because from talking about this, and once the child has known about the pronouns, it will be very important for the child to know also the types of pronouns used. For example, we have what we call the reflexive pronouns and the possessive pronouns. From the pronouns, we can be able to know, for example, from I, when it comes to possession, I, that is, this book belongs to me. It is mine. That class belongs to them. It is theirs. Therefore, we have possessive pronouns like mine, theirs, his, hers, ours, yours, and its. Its. I have not said its. I've said its because it belongs to something. Now, apart from the possessive pronouns, we have now the reflexive pronouns. And a reflexive pronoun in simple definition simply means you're talking about something that has been done by somebody else. Who did it? By whom was that action done? For example, you say, I swept this floor myself. He swept that floor himself. She swept that floor herself. They swept that floor themselves. You know, those are now what we call the reflexive pronouns. So the child will be able to know about the pronouns. We are talking about the reflexive pronouns, the possessive pronouns, and other things. The child will also be able to know about, to learn about what we call the you know, after the pronouns, we have the prepositions. Which preposition has been used where? And what is a preposition? A preposition is simply a word that shows the position of something in relation to another. For example, you can say, as you can look at me, you can say, the teacher is leaning against the slab. For example, you can even say the book is on the table. The teacher is sitting on a chair. But you can also say the teacher is sitting at a table. You don't say the teacher is sitting on the table. You sit on a chair, but you sit at a table. Now, after the child has answered those questions and chosen the correct ones, she or he will read the passage with those questions. If they are going to make sensible paragraphs, then the child will transfer the answers to her answer sheet. Are we okay up to there? Good. Now, what about in cases where the child is confused? For example, sometimes even the broken passages, they talk about punctuation. You know, there are some dashes, some blank spaces where you need to have punctuation marks. You need, for example, the commas, the exclamation marks, the full stop, the dashes, the use of the bracket, and many others. So the child will be able to know about these things. Ladies and gentlemen, English is a very important subject. I like it and I love it. Let's go to the second section. Now, the second question in the English language paper talks about the grammar. Oh my God, I really like grammar. Why? This is a place where a wide range of questions usually come. And in most cases, a child who is good at answering questions on grammar definitely will be able to pass her English paper, especially the comprehension passage. In grammar, which type of questions do we expect? We expect questions in grammar like questions on question tags, synonyms, antonyms, phrasal verbs, direct and indirect speech, active and passive voice, homophones, or what we call homonyms. We also expect very many questions on rearranging sentences to make sensible paragraphs. We expect questions on prepositions. We have even questions on proverbs. Talk about similes. Talk about idioms. You know, we have hyperboles and many others. So a very intelligent child will look at those questions one by one by understanding the questions and the context in which they have. We even have simple questions on what we call, analogies. Analogies are questions like, for example, buy is to sell as cook is to dash. Buy is to sell as cook is to dash. So you'll simply say buy is to sell as cook is to eat. It's like you're saying the opposite. What's the opposite of cooking? What's the opposite of buying? That is it. We also have different types of questions that might just come out of this. For example, they give you a word that has been misarranged. And then out of it, you are told to create a word that means the opposite of that particular word. You also have very short stories that you can be given and ask questions on that. The child is supposed to understand the key questions of that particular section. What do they really want? So the child needs to look at those words or instructions that have been written in bold. Or sometimes we call them, we have those questions that are written, that are italicized. You look at that and then you start answering your questions. Now, for example, what about, let me pick on one section that, which one I can pick on, let's talk about question tags. Question tags, for example. Now, question tags are a very, very integral part of learning and teaching for any teacher. A teacher who teaches question tags to his or her pupils should be able to know that the child simply needs instructions or the rules that govern the use of question tags. Take a look. For example, a child should be able to know the rules that govern any statement. And these are the rules in question. We say when the statement is negative, the question tag is positive, and the response is negative. I repeat, when the statement is negative, the response is positive, and the question tag is positive and the response is negative. So it's like negative, positive, negative. What about if the statement is positive? A positive statement will require a negative question tag and a positive response. For example, you can say, she is going home. She is going home. The question tag, isn't she? The response, yes, she is. So I repeat, she is going home. Isn't she? Yes, she is. What about when you have a negative statement? They are not playing. They are not playing. Are they? No, they aren't. They are not playing. Are they? No, they aren't. And then you go ahead to let your children know that you start the statement with a capital letter. After the statement, there is a comma. The question tag must always start with a small letter. After the question tag, there is a question mark. After the question mark and you want to put there a response, the response should either start with no or yes, followed by a comma, then the response itself. That's why I say no, they aren't. Or yes, she is. Now, you need to know in question tags, we have some words which can automatically make a statement negative. For example, the use of the word hardly, scarcely, rarely, seldom, not, and not or no. Those make their statement to be negative. For example, Kelvin Guma rarely visits Oscar. Kelvin Guma rarely visits Oscar. That is a negative statement. So the response should be, the question tag should be positive. The response should be negative. Kelvin Guma rarely visits Oscar. Does he? No, he doesn't. You can also say, for example, Beatrice Oigo seldom cooks. Beatrice Oigo seldom cooks. That statement is negative. So you say, Beatrice Oigo seldom cooks. Does she? No, she doesn't. There is a section that usually brings a lot of problems to our children, even my own children that I teach. For example, the use of the word lie. You know we have lie, which has two meanings, and lay, which also has two meanings. For example, lie, which means to cheat, and lie, which means to go flat on the surface, as in to sleep. For example, lie down. As I say, somebody can say, why did you lie to me? Eh? You know, why did you lie to me? So you'll say, we have lie in its present form. Lying, that is lie, which means to cheat. Lying, which means to cheat. Lie in the present form. Lying in the present continuous. In the past participle, it lied. Lied. That's past participle. And in the past tense, it will be lied. L-I-E-D. So, lie, lying, lied, lied. The other lie, which means to go flat on a surface, like on your belly, or sometimes when our teachers would cane us some time back, say, lie down, lie down. Then it will be, I am lying down. Past participle, I have lain down. I have lain down. L-A-I-N. I have lain down. And the past tense will be, yesterday I lay down. And the past tense there is L-A-Y. So it is lie, lying, laying, laid. And the most important thing for you to note here, ladies and gentlemen, is when you are using the past participle, you have to use certain auxiliary verbs. These include have, has, had, is, was, or were. I repeat, when you are using the past participle form of verbs, you use auxiliary verbs like have, has, had, is, was, or were. What is an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb is a helping word. You know, it makes a sentence complete. Therefore, it helps. You know, you cannot say, for example, in a sentence where you say, she is cooking. So the auxiliary verb there is. Now, remove that word. Remove the auxiliary verb is. You remain with the very skeleton, a skeleton sentence. You simply say, she cooking, and it doesn't make sense. Now, then we have talked about lie and lie. We have lay. Lay. Lay has two meanings, and the spelling is L-A-Y. Lay. The first meaning of the word lay is to produce an egg. You know, a hen produces an egg. Lay an egg. Now, another one means to set the table. So you say lay the table, you know. My mother wants to lay the table. So when you're talking about laying an egg, you say lay, L-A-Y, lay, then laying, the hen is laying an egg. The hen has laid an egg, L-A-I-D. Yesterday, our hen laid an egg, L-A-I-D. The other lay, which means to set the table, you know, to bring all the crockery, the cutlery, the bowels, I've just tried to use a very common, a collective noun, crockery, you know, the cutlery and those others. So you will say, my mother wants to lay the table. That means your mother wants to set the table. Bringing all the food, putting everything in place, the forks where they're supposed to be, the knives, the spoons, the glasses, and all that she has. Therefore, you say, my mother is laying the table. L-A-Y-I-N-G. Laying. And the past participle will be, my mother laid the table. Past tense, yesterday, my mother laid the table. I shall be bringing more questions on this so that we can see how our kids can answer those questions and just come up with the correct answers if at all they have not understood. I have to thank you most sincerely for listening. I know out of your busy schedule, you took your time. Tell the kids to go through what I have said.
Wow, what a wonderful English teacher. What a lesson. Children, I'm very sure if you take this seriously, you will pass your English exams with flying colors. Thank you, viewers and listeners, for staying tuned. That's all for today. Please share, comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. I am just keeping it as it is. Bye.